In the top stories, Federation records first gun-related homicide of 2025. Joint operation by police and customs nets $130,000 worth of marijuana, and Nike to raise U.S. prices as firms face tariffs uncertainty. Welcome to the ZIZ Midday newscast. Today is Thursday, 22nd May 2025. I am Jasmine Thomas. The Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force is investigating a fatal shooting incident that occurred on the evening of the 21st of May at Tuckett Street, Ponds Pasture. The incident was reported to the police at approximately 9:16 in the evening. Officers responded to the scene as well as to the Joseph and France General Hospital, where two male victims had been transported via private vehicle. The victims have been identified as 41-year-old Terence Richin of Tuckett Street, Ponds Pasture, and 38-year-old Ricardo Masham of Godwin Gut. Mr. Masham succumbed to his injuries shortly after arrival at the hospital, where Mr. Richin received multiple gunshot wounds and, after undergoing x-rays and medical intervention, was admitted to the surgical ward in stable condition. Preliminary investigations indicate that the victims were at a business establishment operated by Mr. Richin, where they were socializing when a lone gunman approached and opened fire. Striking both men, the assailant fled the scene shortly thereafter, and officers from the crime scene unit processed the scene and collected items of evidential value. The body was secured pending a scheduled autopsy. The Ministry of National Security is pushing back against a wave of online rumors and misinformation that it says threaten public trust and national stability. The ministry has issued a strong statement condemning what it describes as false and malicious narratives, while reminding the public of the legal consequences of spreading such content. Devon Cornelius has the details.
The Ministry of National Security has responded firmly to a recent surge of rumors and speculative narratives circulating across social media and other online platforms, labeling the claims as categorically false and deeply disappointing. In a statement issued this week, the ministry made it clear that these attempts to tarnish the integrity of its personnel and operations are not only baseless, but also pose a serious threat to the stability and safety of the Federation. Quote, the Ministry of National Security holds one of the most critical mandates in the government of St. Kitts and Nevis, end quote, the statement read. Quote, it is responsible for overseeing the agencies that protect and preserve the safety and security of our Federation for every citizen and resident, including those who choose to engage in the propagation of misinformation, end quote. While acknowledging the importance of political discourse in a healthy democracy, the ministry drew a sharp line between constructive criticism and efforts that undermine national institutions. Quote, when efforts to score cheap political points result in the erosion of public confidence in the very systems designed to protect us, the consequence is a direct threat to national security, end quote, the statement continued. The ministry reminded the public that under Section 13 of the Electronic Crimes Act, the publication or transmission of false, malicious, or defamatory content with the intent to harm reputations is a criminal offense. Offenders may face legal action if found in violation of the law. Additionally, the ministry highlighted the existence of formal channels for reporting concerns about misconduct in public office. Citizens in possession of credible evidence are encouraged to report such matters to the Integrity Commission on St. Kitts or Nevis, where they will be addressed in a lawful and responsible manner. Reiterating its commitment to public safety, the ministry assured the public that it continues to operate on the principles of fairness, transparency, and professionalism. Quote, we will continue to support and strengthen the work of law enforcement and the protective services that keep our communities safe, end quote, the statement concluded. The ministry also encouraged all residents to reject misinformation and to remain vigilant in protecting the peace and order of the nation. Devon Cornelius, ZIZ News.
Thanks, Devon. Prime Minister of St. Christopher and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, arrived in Cuba last evening, 21st May, to commence a two-day official state visit aimed at strengthening bilateral relations between the two Caribbean nations. The Prime Minister and his delegation were accorded full military honors upon arrival and were officially welcomed by Vice Minister of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Cuba, Josefina Vidal Ferrero, Ambassador of Cuba to St. Kitts and Nevis, David Rivera Perez, and other senior Cuban officials. During initial discussions, Prime Minister Drew engaged in substantive dialogue on pressing regional matters affecting both nations. The talks encompassed critical areas, including renewable energy, exploration, geopolitical developments, and matters of mutual interest to both countries. A significant portion of the discussion centered on the welfare of St. Kitts and Nevis' students currently pursuing studies in Cuba, addressing their achievements, challenges, and overall well-being. Prime Minister Drew, drawing from his personal experience as a former medical student in Cuba, also shared insights on the transformative impact of Cuban education on Caribbean professionals. In regional news, a substantial amount of cannabis with an estimated street value of $138,000 was intercepted at the VC Bird International Airport on the 20th of May. According to the police, the drug bust was the result of a collaborative drug enforcement operation conducted at the airport cargo shed by officers from the Narcotics Department and customs officials. During this operation, authorities discovered a cardboard box containing 23 vacuum-sealed packages of cannabis weighing a total of 23 pounds. The seized narcotics have been taken to police headquarters, where further investigations are underway. Law enforcement authorities say they are dedicated to enhancing border security while preventing the trafficking of illegal substances into the country. On the international scene, Nike is set to raise prices on some trainers and clothing in the U.S. from early June, weeks after rival Adidas warned it would have to hike the cost of products due to tariffs. The sportswear giant did not name U.S. tariffs explicitly as a reason for the increase, saying it regularly made price adjustments. Almost all of Nike's goods are made in Asia, a region targeted by President Donald Trump's tariffs. The U.S. has paused higher so-called reciprocal tariffs until July, but a base levy of 10% remains in place against a long list of countries. Tariffs, which are a tax on imports, are almost always paid by the company that is importing the goods into a country rather than the business which makes the product. While importers can decide to absorb the extra charge, they often choose to pass it on to the consumer. Ahead of his tariffs announcement, Trump disputed those predictions. He has since attacked firms including Mattel and Walmart that have linked price rises to the measures. And now for the weather. Present weather is cloudy with slight dust haze. Winds are moderate, breeze from the northeast at 14 miles per hour. Seas are 1.5 meters or 3 to 5 feet. The weather forecast for today predicts partly sunny skies with brief cloudy spells and a 60% or moderate chance of brief passing showers. Tonight will be fair to partly cloudy with brief cloudy spells and a 40% or moderate chance of brief overnight showers. Sunset today will be at around 6:38, sunrise tomorrow morning at around 5:37. And that brings us to the end of the ZIZ Midday Major Newscast. Join us this evening for these stories and more in detail. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jasmine Thomas. Grace and peace be multiplied to you from God the Father.